Hiya. That's the Buddhist hipster behind me. Welcome. Hope you're all doing well. And I'm here to talk about the Orb's new album, Buddhist Hipsters. You know I love the Orb. You love the Orb too. That's why you subscribe to my channel, hopefully. Actually, probably only a handful of you subscribe to my channel because of my Orb videos, but I don't care because I love the Orb and I'm doing a video and I hope you enjoy it. I'll tell you what I've been enjoying lately, Buddhist Hipsters. It's the first album in a few years from the Orb. And I love pretty much every Orb album. There are only a couple of exceptions since their very first album, well over 30 years ago, almost 35 years ago, since the first Ultra World album. As I've already mentioned on my channel, my favorite Orb album will always be UF Orb. Ultra World is second. I would say Moon Building would be third. And Buddhist Hipsters is it's really good. It surprised me. I haven't generally been an overt fan of any of the albums since Moon Building, and not many Orb albums in the 5 or 6 years or even decade preceding Moon Building. I think they have their ups and downs. It depends on who Alex Patterson is working with. But generally, my favorite Orb time frames, instances, periods of time are the thrash albums and the Thomas Fellman albums. I think when Alex was working with thrash, I think thrash was a star producer, and I think the same thing about Thomas Fellman. But Fellman hasn't worked with Alex in the last decade. Moon Building was the last thing they did. So the albums have been pretty good, not my favorite, but the new Buddhist Hipsters album I am very much a fan of, and I wanted to talk about a little bit here. The other dude, I forget his name. I'm gonna look it up here. Enjoy enjoy the artwork in the background while I rummage around looking for this. Michael Rendall. I have no clue who that is. I don't know that I've ever heard anything from him outside of the Orb. It says here his aliases are Jackanory, Jelly Beats, and Panda Michael. No idea. I have never even heard of those aliases, much less heard the music. But I'm digging what he's doing with Alex here. It's fun. The Orb feel fun again. And they've had certain I mean, all of their albums are fun to some degree, mainly because of the sampling, but this new album is pretty cool. It's upbeat, it's also ambient. I wouldn't say it's very moody. They definitely have their more moody moments, but I think Buddhist Hipsters is a pretty upbeat, feel good type of Orb album. And I really enjoy it. I have mixed feelings with the Orb when they go full on house, full on techno or whatever. I think it's been mixed results. I think the best time they ever did that was on UF Orb, of course. I know I've talked about that many times and it's my favorite Orb album and blah 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 blah, but Buddhist Hipsters is pretty cool. I've listened to it 3 or 4 times in the last few weeks. I ordered the vinyl a couple weeks ago. I have yet to get it. So I was waiting to get my package to do this video, but I just listened to the album again and I'm ready to do the video. So I'm not going to be showing any records because I don't have any to show. And by the way, I got tired of waiting for the post office. Those of you who order records or stuff through the mail, are you noticing how epically bad the postal service has been lately? Jesus. They've been really terrible. Long delays, things seemingly getting lost for months and then they just show up out of the blue and they're damaged, and it's I mean, you've always had this risk with the postal service in the United States, but lately it's been really bad. It's just things are getting epically bad here in the United States. Americans know what I'm talking about, but if you're outside the United States, I think the general aura of what's going on in our country is really ominous at best. And it's the truth. It's not just an aura. Like things are really out of whack in this country. And I could get into the reasons why, but I think you all know. Hopefully you do know. Hopefully you're smart enough to know. Anyway, back to the orb. I haven't received my copy of Buddhist Hipsters yet, but it is on Apple Music, and I have listened to it a number of times. Really enjoy it. I have found that throughout its 10 tracks, you get a nice sprinkling of ambient, you get techno, you get house, you get dub, you get reggae, you get a little pop. Of all those things, I would say ambient would be at the end. Like I'm looking at the Discogs page right now, and the genres and the styles are ambient house. Um, okay. Um, I wouldn't disagree with that, but I think ambient being at the top is probably the least conducive of what the album actually sounds like. So that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that ambient, it's probably its least, its smallest piece of styles. We all know Orb as an ambient outfit, but I think this is probably one of their least ambient albums. In fact, the Orb, by and large, they're always known as this ambient thing, but I've always talked about this with my Orb album videos. But I think that ambient is a very small slice of what they do overall. We think of them as like the ultimate ambient group, but I think there are many, many others that are way more ambient than the Orb are. I even talked about this with Thomas Fellman himself. And if you're curious, you should go to my website, occasionalfeelgood.com, and be kind enough to read the interview I did with Thomas Fellman, where we talked about this very thing. So it's not just me, it's actual members of the band. And not just any member of the band. I think the most important member of the band, other than Alex Patterson and arguably Chris Weston, aka Thrash, Thomas Fellman. So won't you please go to my website and read my interview with Thomas Fellman? I interviewed Fellman when Moon Building came out. Or wait, no, it was Chill Out World. Right, okay. That was the last album that he did with Patterson. Excuse me, I forgot about Chill Out World. Well, Moon Building had come out just before that. So go read that interview. Thomas Fellman was a hell of a nice guy. But I'm getting off the beaten path here. Buddhist Hipsters is a fun album. It's very upbeat. It's very much a dance album. I wouldn't classify it as ambient so much. It's got ambient tones, a couple of tracks that are ambient, but the songs are nice and long, and you can kind of absorb yourself into the music. There's a lot to take in. It's a double album, and you really feel that it's a double album. It's well over an hour in length. It's the kind of Orb album that we love. It's long, lots of music to take in, lots of dance moments, um, lots of floaty, meditative moments. It's an Orb album, and it's a very classic Orb album in that sense. My favorite tracks, I don't know. It's even got some hip hop on it. I can't remember the name. Is it Arababonics? I think it is Arababonics. It's got some hip hop and rap sprinkled in there. So they're hitting all types of points of electronic music with this Buddhist Hipsters album, and I highly recommend you pick it up. I would not recommend you pick up the vinyl because you might be sitting there with your thumb up your ass for weeks waiting for the post office to deliver it to you. But you can just go download it or listen to it on Apple Music. Have it just like that in a snap. But I love the Orb. I'm always going to want to take time out of my day to talk about the Orb, to listen to the Orb. I have invested many, many hours and days and years of my life listening to the Orb. And it's always exciting for me to listen to a new Orb album and really feel enthusiastic about it because it doesn't happen as often as it used to. I feel like the Orb have kind of Alex will bring in certain members, and I don't know that they gel so well with what Alex does, but I think he's this newer guy. I've forgotten his name already. Michael, what was it? Let me look his name up again. Michael Rendall. I think he's found a good partner in crime here. Michael Rendall. He and Alex are vibing. Hardcore vibes with this new album, and I highly recommend it. It's really good stuff. Go check out Buddhist Hipsters. It's an Orb album. That should be enough for you to be intrigued. You got to give it a chance, don't you? You have to at least sit down and listen to it once. I think if you do, you'll be pleasantly surprised. If you don't normally like the orb, you should check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff to discover about this record. And until next time, I hope you're well. I'm going to get out of here. Later.